Uh, Kaila is asking, I do not see the speed button.
Speak button if you want. Come on to and attend. Then check and see.
Ask Nachiket to Michelle too.
Ah, now it's there. Okay, thank you.
Hello, Sujit, can you hear me?
Yes, Jayant, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. I hope you're doing well.
Good.
We'll
Nice to
just
see you
start,
on.
very soon. Next few minutes, we should be starting. Just waiting for rest of the panelists to come in.
No issue, no issue.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Sunil, there's an echo. I think
No,
you need to remove any other system which is close by to you.
yeah, I have to remove Michelle. Okay, it's okay.
Say something.
No, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Marcus.
How are you? Hey, Sunil.
Yeah, hi Marcus, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Marcus, your name is coming as Jonathan.
Yes, it is. We need to change that.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Hi, Dr. Lazarson. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Hi,
Welcome to the panel discussion.
thank you, thank you.
Sunil will start in next few minutes, less than 2 minutes. We already have about 125 people on the call. We're expecting many more, so we're just giving them the benefit of the doubt, and we'll start very soon, next couple of minutes. All are able to see me, hear me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm just waiting for the cue from our IT to start, and I think it should begin in next 20 seconds or so. Okay, hello everybody. Everyone seems to be here on the call, and I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you so much for joining us for this gathering. We're absolutely excited to welcome you here. At Godrej, our endeavor is to make India healthy, safe, and free from mosquito-borne diseases. It has become more important to be vigilant due to the double threat of mosquito-borne diseases and the virus which is doing its round currently. So today's panel discussion, we aim to get insights from key opinion leaders on the fight against mosquito-borne diseases, the impact of such diseases on human health, the economy, the medical infrastructure, and can innovation give us an edge to beat malaria and dengue? That's going to be the bigger point. We have with us today experts from the foremost government organizations and institutions like Ministry of Health, ICMR, Gates Foundation, HICA, of course, also with the representation from our Godrej group. It's a pleasure and privilege to welcome all our friends from media who are here, and you are the real people who are going to take this message to the world in terms of this big war against vector-borne diseases, against mosquito-borne diseases, and the kind of pandemics that we see a threat lurking around us. Without more further ado, let me introduce you to our esteemed panel. We're very happy to have Dr. Kela Larsson. She is India Country Office Deputy Director for the Gates Foundation. She looks at the infectious diseases and vaccine delivery. Since March, she has been leading the COVID-19 response for the India BMGF office. Prior to starting her role at the foundation, she was the CDC India Country Director for 6 years. She's previously served as the CDC Resident Advisor of the India Epidemic Intelligence Service, EIS program. Absolutely happy to welcome you, Dr. Laserson. Happy to have you amongst this esteemed panel. We also have Dr. Rajnikant Srivastava. He's the Director of Regional Medical Research Center, RMRC, Gorakhpur, for Indian Council of Medical Research. He's an eminent vector biologist and has expertise in malaria, mosquito control, along with research management, policy, planning, and health communications. Welcome, Dr. Srivastava. We also have Dr. P.K. Sen, Principal Advisor for the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in the past 2 years. Prior to this, he was the director of National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Welcome, sir. It's a privilege to have you amongst us. We also have Advocate Jayant Deshpande. Jayant is the Honorary Secretary of Home Insecticide Control Association, HICA. It's a non-profit making industry body promoting safe use of household insecticides. Jayant, absolutely a pleasure to host you here. We also have Sunil Kataria, CEO India and SAARC region, Godrej Consumer Products. Sunil is the CEO since almost a long time and is a thought leader in the space of HI today. Sunil has been with GCPL since 2011. He's also the chairman of Indian Society of Advertisers and closely associated with the CMO Forum, FICCI, FMCG Committee, and Advertising Standards Council of India, amongst many more. Most welcome, Sunil. It's your day. And we have a special guest, a moderator, who's an absolute delight to work with, Dr. Marcus Ranning, a thought leader in healthcare and life sciences. He's also an author of multiple publications, a keynote speaker and public health commentator at multiple global organizations. Dr. Ranning is a firm proponent of helping us each achieve our peak performance for ensuring sustainable human health. We're happy to have him moderating the panel. Over to you, Dr. Marcus. It's your day, and we thank you so much for doing this for us. Over to you, Dr. Marcus.
Thank you very much, Shajit, and thank you. Welcome to everyone signing in, and for those who are watching the post live as well. We're very grateful that you're investing your time with us, and I'm incredibly grateful for the entire panel for joining us today on this very important topic, which we're going to be looking and trying to understand the gravitas behind the issue around mosquito-borne diseases, MBDs, and how we can collectively come towards a solution and alleviate the problem. Without further ado, I would love to kickstart the session. And my very first question goes to you, Dr. PK Sen. Firstly, thank you, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you're doing well. My question to you, sir, is this. At present, malaria and dengue cases are rising, and particularly serotype 2 of dengue is very much in the news right now. How are you viewing the current situation, and what is the ministry's plan of action around this? Dr. Sen, it's the line which we all say on Zoom these days, which is you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Marcus.
Thank you.
Now I think I'm audible. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's my privilege to be with you and our esteemed viewers this afternoon in the conclave on vector-borne disease. I convey my sincere thanks to Godrej Group for organizing such an event. Basically, to your question, I do not agree that malaria cases are rising in the country. In fact, there has been tremendous decline during the last 2 decades. Number of malaria cases and deaths, and since the beginning of this century, when number of malaria cases was as high as 2 million, it has drastically come down to less than 0.2 million in recent years. Several initiatives have been taken, as you all know, which proved very crucial, especially introduction of rapid bivalent RDT kits, artemisinin-based combination therapy, use of insecticidal bed nets, ilalians, and this has already been and also been acknowledged by WHO in recent World Malaria reports. As regards dengue, it is the fastest growing mosquito-borne viral disease with 30-fold increase in global incidence during the last 50 years. And in recent years, in 2019, the largest 2019 is basically the largest number of dengue cases was reported globally. And in fact, there was dengue epidemic in 2019. A number of countries reported epidemic, including countries in Southeast Asia, like Philippines, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand. And in India also, there was large number of cases as high as more than 2 lakhs cases were reported in 2019 from India. Several factors have been attributed to increase in cases throughout the globe and also in India, especially rapid population growth, urban expansion and its consequences, globalization. Most important one is climate change, complex interplay of factors between agent, host, and environment. But I agree that transmission potential of dengue has expanded in recent years. As you were mentioning about serotypes, there are 4 distinct and related serotypes of dengue virus, as you all know. And all these 4 serotypes are in circulation in India. And of this, serotype 2 is more likely to result in more severe disease. And this is particularly so when this is second infection. So this is the situation. And there are isolated outbreaks in some parts in the country, in other parts also. And regarding plan of action, what we are talking about is basically malaria is under elimination in our country in alignment with the global technical strategy. Our Honorable Prime Minister endorsed India's commitment to the goal of region free of malaria by 2030 in the Asia Pacific APLAMA Summit, basically in Kuala Lumpur in 2015. National Framework of Malaria Elimination was launched in 2016. National Strategic Plan for Malaria Elimination 17-22 was released in 2017. So basically, there is a plan of action regarding malaria elimination in our country.
Fantastic. And if I may follow up on just one element there, today, of course, the Prime Minister was announcing the Pradhan Mantri Digital Health Mission, another key landmark piece integrating digital health and well-being for our nation. What degree of prioritization and inputs are there in that scheme around mosquito-borne diseases?
Yeah, this will definitely help. This health cards and what has been initiated has been taken in all the diseases, including malaria, dengue also. So this will cover. This is a digital health mission on the part of Government of India. So coming to strategies for prevention of control of dengue, as I mentioned, there are some outbreaks, and every year there are outbreaks. There are several reasons for that. And in 2019, we experienced very high number of cases. And there is a national program. A well-coordinated laboratory network has been gradually expanded to more than 700 sentinel sites throughout the country, where free ELISA-based diagnostic facility is available. Another approach is integrated approach for vector control in line with global vector control response strategy. Extensive behavioral change communication strategy have been adopted. Case management has been given priority. Clinical management guidelines have been developed. Training have been conducted. And what is most important is initiatives have been taken for effective coordination between health and non-health sector. What is crucial, I must say, in the framework of implementation of national plan is involvement of non-government organizations, involvement of civil societies, private sectors, public-private partnership is a key supportive program strategy aiming to reach out to every citizen of our country, even in the remotest corner. So what basically I want to say that plan of action is there. It is versatile, and at the same time it is flexible, and we'll have to adapt to the situation according to the need, according to the local circumstance.
Thank you very much for your insights and the Herculean efforts that our country and government is leading. Of course, as you mentioned, it involves multi-stakeholder engagement for us to beat these diseases. And that's precisely why we are hosting this conversation today. I'd love to bring in Dr. Rajnikant Srivastava now of the ICMR. Dr. Rajnikant, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
In the various studies done by the ICMR, could you help us understand some of the on-ground reasons why we are seeing this surge and rise in the number of dengue cases and malaria to some degree in some parts of the country, both urban and rural India? And specifically, if we can help the people watching so it's really pragmatic, what is it that we should alert our citizens about?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for your excellent program. ICMR, as we know, is one of the oldest research agency in the country, working since 1911. And ICMR has been proactive in the mosquito-borne diseases, their research and their management. And we are partnering with the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. That is the national program for the implementation of all the vector-borne diseases. In ICMR, we have a specific institute. For example, we have a National Institute for Malaria Research in Delhi. They have their 10 field stations across the country. They are working in different epidemiological zones of the country on the various aspects of the malaria. Similarly, we have a vector control research center at Pondicherry. And in addition to these two institutes, we have many regional medical research centers at Port Blair, at Dibrugarh, in Gorakhpur, in Jodhpur. And many of these ICMR institutes, they are doing exhaustive research. If I cite an example, I was involved in the bioenvironmental control of malaria in Khera district, Gujarat. During the 80s, there was a huge problem of malaria. There was a malaria outbreak in Gujarat, and there was triple resistance against the insecticides. During those times, we were using the DDT, BSC, and malathion. And the major vector, Anopheles culicyfracis, was resistant against all three insecticides. There was a drug resistance against the P. falciparum. So there was no option left. What we can do? Then we took a new initiative. We started controlling malaria through approaches using the larvae fishes like guppy and gambusia, community awareness, interdepartmental cooperation, seeking the help of the other departments like public work department, PWD, fisheries department, irrigation department, education department, and we work together and creating awareness among the population. Early diagnosis and prompt treatment that help in controlling malaria in Gujarat through community-based environmental friendly approaches. Now ICMR has recently launched a malaria elimination research alliance, MERA India, because we all know as per the WHO technical strategy, the target is to eliminate malaria by 2030. And India also, we are working with the national program and with the state government, how early we can control and achieve this target for the malaria elimination. The reason, as you highlighted, the rise in and now there is a need to have a capacity building also, because we don't have the trained manpower now. Many of the old scientists and the entomologists, they have retired. So there is a need to train new persons, those who are dealing with the vector-borne diseases. Incidentally, India is doing good. India has already shown reduction as per the World Malaria Report. You can see India has shown significant decline in the malaria cases. As far as the dengue is concerned, because of the climate change, the problem of the dengue is rising again and again. This year, you might have witnessed there is a huge and excessive rainfall. Even in the end of the September, you are still having the rains. In a city like Delhi, if the rains are happening, there are innumerable number of breeding sources, whether there are flower pots, whether they are the tires, whether they are the battery boxes. So everywhere there is a space for a water, for the stagnation, the Aedes mosquito, the Aedes aegypti, they start breeding. So it is very difficult to control the Aedes mosquitoes.
I think we're having a bit of a connection issue with Dr. Rajnikant there. We'll try and get him back in as quickly as we can. In the meantime, perhaps if I could bring in Dr. Kyla Lasserson of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now, we've heard a lot about the current state of affairs in India. Of course, some of these are larger problems like Doctor was just talking about with climate change, etc. But your work has been truly global, and you've been involved and seen situations in other countries where malaria and dengue have been brought under great control, and in some instances eradicated completely as well. What are your hopes and optimisms for our country in India? What is it that we can practically adopt in our day-to-day lives to make this a reality for us as well?
Thank you. I think many of those things are happening in India right now. I mean, if you bring in some of the experience from China, the recent sort of, celebration of the end of malaria in China, and some of the 137 strategy that was referred to during that time of confirming a one-day deadline to report a malaria diagnosis, confirming a case and determining the spread by the third day, and then measures to stop the spread by the seventh day, along with a lot of surveillance in high-risk areas, reducing mosquito breeding grounds, malaria diagnosis and treatment for free, multi-sectoral collaboration across all ministries to really work on malaria. Those are many of those things, if not all of those things, are happening in India. So it's really a question of that kind of, just day in, day out work to get rid of malaria. And we are seeing and have seen a tremendous decline in malaria in India with some of those very same implementation activities. So that's something that's happened in China. And in Sri Lanka, similarly, there have been some interesting innovations like malaria mobile clinics going around to ensure that everybody can get a diagnosis promptly and get treated. A lot of surveillance. Surveillance is kind of a common theme, and it links back to your National Digital Health Mission question, which is the importance of surveillance, continued surveillance for all fever diseases, including malaria, to ensure that they're found and diagnosed quickly, treated quickly, and then any kind of relapse or any kind of new cases, new areas, new geographies are found quite quickly, and that's really important across all vector-borne diseases. And that's really going to be important going forward. It has proven very important in these countries where malaria has been eliminated. The other thing that Sri Lanka has done, which has been quite interesting, is they've screened blood samples taken for any reason. They screen blood samples for malaria so that they can actually kind of geotag where malaria cases might be. So that's sort of an interesting approach. And also they screen high-risk populations coming into the country. So as malaria goes down further and further, when people are coming in from high malaria areas, looking for fever and looking for cases. And of course, now we're doing a lot of fever screening at airports. So that would be sort of nothing new for us. So those are two countries with some interesting ideas, but I do believe India is doing, all of those activities as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if I may bring in Mr. Sunil Kataria at this point in time. Now, of course, we've heard from so many different stakeholders on what the challenges are. As a leading player in the household insecticide space, what is Godrej Consumer Products doing, both in urban India and in rural India, to really help our consumers end this menace, this mosquito menace, which is at the cause of so many of these diseases that we've been speaking about this afternoon?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Marcus. And I think it's an honor to be here on such an esteemed panel of so many people from different domains with expert knowledge. And it was really a pleasure hearing to Dr. P.K. Sen, Dr. Rajnikant, and Dr. Lasserson. And I think they have put it very nicely. The first thing I think we have to take into perspective is that the good news is that, yes, India is making very strong strides in its war against malaria. And hopefully with all the stakeholders coming together, we should be able on track to fulfill the Honorable Prime Minister's mission of making India malaria free by 2030. At the same time, the challenge that we as a country face is that 95% of our areas fall into vector-borne disease-prone areas. And malaria is only one of the vector-borne diseases. And as everybody mentioned on the panel already, that we are seeing a pretty high incidence in terms of dengue right now. And that's a new challenge which is there because of whether it's climate change, whether it's a different kind of species. So that's the kind of battle which is right now facing us. Another thing that we've seen, from a perspective of a company which has been in the forefront of fighting this battle from a product angle, is that there is definite, apart from climate change, there is mutation of species happens, there's evolution of species happens. There is one challenge that we've seen during our research and development work is that there's a resistance which gets built within the same species to various kinds of products which are used to prevent against these diseases. So I think for us, the battle is the contribution is twofold. One is clearly, obviously, we being the category leaders in household insecticides, we have to come up with continuous innovation on the products front. And given the large scale of our country, the large population, which stays in both urban and in fact rural is, we all know, roughly around 68% of our population, we have to make sure that our products take into account the reality of our country's landscape. For example, not only we have to give products which work on electricity, we also have to give products which work without electricity, because many parts of our country, especially in rural areas, the supply of electricity is erratic still. Another piece that we have to keep into mind is, yes, we have to make sure that these are affordable solutions at the same time, because yes, we have to keep that challenge of affordability in our country. So over the last 4 decades, we have at the forefront of this battle, and we have continuously come up with products across the spectrum of insecticides. And just to give an example, some things we've been able to do, right from making the first burning format of coils many years back. We have come up with very innovative electric solution like Goodnight advanced liquid vaporizer, which was a very, very innovative product which came around almost 10 years back and revolutionized the urban and small town battle against insecticides in this country, to something which we launched around 7 years back called Goodnight Fast Card, which is a 1 rupee product of a paper-based product where you can burn and instantly mosquitoes get killed. So I think for us, we keep all these needs of multiple consumers in mind, and our R&D is very, very committed, and we put in a lot of resources behind our research and development work. We work closely with various foundations across the globe. We work with many active suppliers globally to keep on helping them research on molecules which can help us in the war against vector-borne disease in the country. Plus, I think a big work starts once these larger players like Bayer and Sumitomo, etc., have come up with molecules on active-based molecules. We actually then do our own work to convert those actives into usable products. And that's a very large kind of work that we do. And we identify, as I told you, need states for each and every target group. We need to supply a product which can come at a 1 rupee to also a product which can be used overnight for a simple electric solution as well, or to aerosol for somebody who wants a very immediate SOS solution. So I think that spectrum of works continues. We have an innovation pipeline which thinks 3 years ahead, because one very good part of our country also is that we have a very strong regulatory control environment in insecticides in a country which takes care that all the products that are getting developed by companies like us are very well regulated. They are very well tested, not only by players like us, but also at government laboratories before they are given clearances for launching. So I think given these 36 months kind of timeline in mind, we are always thinking 3 to 4 years ahead in terms of pipeline. So I think this is one large bucket of work that we do, and our series of innovations are proof enough of the kind of work that Godrej Consumer Products Limited has brought to the table. The second piece I want to refer is, as some of my co-panelists have already referred, is that apart from products, finally one of the largest pieces, even before products, which would come is behavior change. Awareness and behavior change among consumers is going to be the key to any battle which has to be won against vector-borne diseases. Because finally, it's awareness which will make a difference. I think Dr. Lassesan mentioned something very interesting, which I heard us say, of 137 approach in China. I mean, if I understood her 3 steps very well, it's all about actually getting people to be aware of steps to be taken to kind of curb the outbreak of these vector-borne diseases. So in this light, we are also investing very heavily as a company in public-private partnership. And there's one program which we are very proud of what we've been working. It's something called Embed. It's a public-private partnership program. It is called Elimination of Mosquito-Borne Endemic Diseases. This is something we started in 2015, around 6 years back. And this now program is all about doing behavior change among rural tribal areas of certain of the most highest impacted states in the country. Today, this program covers around 800 villages in 11 districts of Madhya Pradesh, UP, and Chhattisgarh. It started off with MP around 6 years back, and it has been one of the most successful examples of a private sector and public sector and NGOs all coming together to create a fundamental behavior change. In fact, as part of this program, we have seen that we did a baseline testing of what the consumer's behavior was in 2015 when we started, and we again keep on doing checks to say how behaviors have changed. And one data which really makes us feel that we're on the right track, obviously it's a long battle ahead, is that 25% of the 800 odd villages where we have done intervention have reported 0 cases of malaria by the end of FY 2021. And that's a very, very big shift which has happened, that we've been able to make that kind of awareness and change in terms of the on-ground habits of people. Obviously, it's a very large fundamental change, and we will continue to work and embed much, much deeper and much wider across more states of the country.
No, thank you for championing this cause as well. And we're going to hear more about some of the innovations from you, I believe, later on in this program as well. You mentioned, Sunil, you were talking a little bit about the regulatory environment. So I think this is a great opportunity to bring Jayant Deshpande into the conversation. Jayant, of course, is representing HICA, which is the Home Insect Control Association. Good afternoon to you, sir. Now, we understand that HICA is working very diligently towards creating awareness around safe solutions in India, particularly to help educate consumers and individuals to stop using the illegal products which are being provided in the market, principally because they have huge health consequences themselves. Would you be able to help us understand what these illegal products are and how they can affect an individual's life negatively?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for having me on this panel. It's a very complex situation we are facing in the market. The reason being that the Insecticide Act is a central legislation and the state government enforces throughout India. So we have to work with the state governments which are not having a lot of commonality, and their processes are different. But coming to the main question, many of the local manufacturers use unapproved pesticide, unapproved chemicals, or sometimes even banned chemicals illegally into their products without declaration onto the packs. Many times they do not even have registration. Now we have an institute called CIB in Faridabad, which stands for Central Insecticide Board. And the registration to use any pesticide into product is mandatory. And then you have to apply and they issue you a registration certificate. That registration certificate starts with the CIR number. So that number has to be on the pack to be a legal product which will drive away the mosquito. Whereas, and then there's a local manufacturing license issued to the companies who are into the organized sector manufacturing these products for the safety of the consumers, to spare them from the mosquitoes and other dengue diseases. Mention the manufacturing number. So these are the two important aspects which are missing on the local manufacturers. You'll find on the pack they write naturals, they will write citronella fragrances, lemongrass fragrances. There will not be direction for you. They will not talk about the safety hazards, and therefore it's very difficult for the consumer to make a comparison between the genuine product and the fake product. But two broad aspects which I mentioned to you, that a product, organized sector product, you will find this CIR number and a manufacturing license. These are the two indications which consumers should actually go and understand these are from the proper channel. And apart from that, the question of affordability comes, and therefore there is for every consumer at whatever level he is, for him, what is important is to stay away from the mosquito. And therefore, affordability is very, very important. And these products which we find it locally manufactured, through the illegally use of pesticide or banned chemicals. For example, if I to give deltamethrin. Now this deltamethrin product, DMEF, is a product which is not being used by many people, and we are finding it difficult to even detect it in the product, and we have to do a very specialized test. So how they will be able to read this and compare and find it out with this product, and therefore they go for a locally made manufactured products which are cheap, affordable, and they find it on every nukkad and corner and panwala. And despite so much of awareness which we create, so much of the legal actions we create, unfortunately now these are some of the illegal products which are even finding way into chemist, which is a little bit alarming. And therefore we are trying and devising the ways and means which, whether we can work with the Chemist and Druggist Association to ensure that the members of those people should not at least keep, because they are, otherwise it gives a credibility up to this product as if they are genuine one. And of course, there are ill effect of these products on the consumer, because many times they are lethal. Now lethal, they kill the mosquitoes, whereas our organized sectors products, you'll find they are safe, they are tested in toxicology, they are safe to the humans, and therefore it will not create any adverse impact. And assuming if there is an despite adverse impact, it will be able to cure it, we will be able to treat it. But some of the local products, they are high doses of the pesticides, and then they are not good for the skin, the eyes, and the heart and the lungs, and there are long-term damages if you start inhaling this kind of a product fumes, and you stay in that kind of environment for too long, and you start using everywhere. So as a HICA, we have taken last year very, very ambitious for the first time. We create more awareness. As Mr. Sunil Kataria has already mentioned, there are programs on the streets and the villages to create awareness among the consumers. We also came out with the TVC, and we ran that TVC on a number of channels to create awareness about the illegal pesticides or illegal insecticide products available in the market versus the organized sector's product. And that has been well received by the consumers. And the battle is long. The battle is long for two reasons. Because we have been taking action. So far, we have taken actions in almost 8 states, right from Assam, West Bengal, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. There are actions which are in pipeline also. But given our legal setup, given the cost involved, the conviction rates you will find little bit slow. And therefore, while we do our push, we try and push these actions, there's a limitation on our side, because typically the actions has to be taken by the Department of Agriculture, and therefore there is an investigation aspect is there, and there is a testing is there. You cannot just by a physical examination, you can see the product whether it's a fake or a genuine one. Unlike FMCG product like cosmetics or auto parts, we can compare 2 products and find out if it's a fake or genuine depending on the finality finish of the product also. In this case, you have to test the product prior to taking action. Even post action, you have to take. So there's a huge cost involved at each stage. But despite that, we continue our efforts on both the fronts, on educating the consumer, creating awareness, as well as taking ground investigation and launching the legal actions. And we have shut down the factories. But recent, because of the lockdown, we understand that almost 50-60% of the small factories have been shut down. But as the lockdown will went away and it starts lifting, open sectors are opening, they may be back. Maybe 2022 we'll see them again. A lot of products flooding the market, and we are working on a strategy where we will at least try to them control. Actually, there has to be a zero tolerance, but it will be very, very difficult, and therefore we are trying to at least ensure that we are able to control and minimize its impact on the organized sector.
Fantastic. I think something which we've all gotten an awareness of, I think for everyone watching, is just the multi-dimensional nature towards combating mosquito-borne diseases and the number of stakeholders involved and the different aspects of that. If I may bring Dr. P.K. Sen back in just before we bring this particular part of the session to a close. Dr. Sen, we've heard from almost every single one of our colleagues on the panel that innovation is the name of the game. What is it that you're most excited about over the next few years? What do you think is the next big thing which will really move the needle on some of these challenges that we face? Dr. Sen. You're on mute, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Marcus. I was listening to Mr. Deshpande, and he was actually pointing towards one very, very important topic, which is related to regulatory approach, basically. But he was concerned about the safety and quality of the local products as well. Anyway, this is certainly, as we are discussing, that innovations are quite important. Innovations, I certainly agree with that. And the world, this is particularly pertinent in the perspective that the world of vector-borne disease is rapidly changing. And most of us will also agree that additional tools will be needed to malaria elimination or Kala-Jar elimination or dengue control to the next level of in many settings. So this is important. Innovations is must. And basically, innovation has been included at one of the most important principal agenda in the national framework as well. It is the National Malaria Elimination Program or National Kala-Jar Elimination Program, even in National Filaria, Lymphatic Filariasis Elimination Program. In dengue, it's also this innovation has been included as an important aspect in the framework. And in that direction, with ICMR, the national program is also working, as Dr. Rajni has already mentioned. And implementation science research agenda must critically, I think, address this changing scenario. This is very important. And I think for this, apart from this private sector involvement or national program has already, as I mentioned, that recognizes the involvement of private sectors, the involvement of NGOs, civil societies, different academic institutions or medical colleges. So there is plenty of opportunity, and the scope is much broader. Basically, not only in some of the aspects, but right from case detection, surveillance, awareness campaigns, which is very much important. Service delivery, community engagement, community mobilization is very important. And even as we are mentioning about the wider area of research and innovation. So there is plenty of scope. And I have extensively traveled throughout India regarding when I was involved with the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. And I have gone to Madhya Pradesh also. I have seen how Godrej is working there. I have seen in different villages I've gone. And I say, what I think that there are isolated explicit models which can be replicated in a wider area in many of the settings in our country. So there is every scope of innovation, and innovation is particularly the leading perspective from which elimination program or control of vector-borne diseases or control of dengue is based upon.
Fantastic. Dr. Rajnikant, we lost you earlier on because of some of the technical challenges we had. Now, we've taken a journey, and of course, a lot of our focus has been on health, but we all know that that's a much broader effect on the socio-economic effects that this has on our country as well. One last thought from you on innovation around this and how we can use innovation to our advantage to combat malaria, dengue, and mosquito-borne diseases in the country.
Thank you, Marcus. I do agree with you. Innovations, indeed, they are the backbone for any health program. So far as the vector-borne diseases are concerned, the basic three things which we need in the area of innovation. One is for the diagnosis. Whether we all know that in the older traditional times, the microscopy was the only diagnosis for the malaria parasite. But because of the innovation, now we have a rapid diagnostics at RDT. RDT, they are the game changer. Otherwise, in older days when they were not RDT, the backlog of slides, that was a huge problem. And because of that, there used to be a larger outbreaks. Now we have RDT. RDT, they have come only because of the innovation. Now we need RDTs which can diagnose all the 4 or 5 species of malaria parasite. We have RDTs for the PV and PF. Can we have RDTs? They can diagnose all the species of the parasite. So that it's the area where we need innovation. We need innovation for the larval control, also for the vector control also. ICMR has an institute in Pondicherry, that is the Vector Control Research Center. So they have developed a BTI-based formulation, Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis, and they have transferred this technology to many number of companies also. It is under the commercialization now. So in ICMR, we are always focusing on the innovations, and many of the innovations, they have now reached to a commercialization stage, so that they can lead to the prevention of the vector control, and they can help to the national program for the management of the vector-borne diseases. So innovation, I do agree. Similarly, we need innovation in the area of repellents, in the area of the insecticides. So regularly, I think there is a need to have a partnership and dialogue with the private partners also. In ICMR, we are giving emphasis to have public-private partnership, so that the research which is being done in ICMR Institute then can be translated into the action with the support from the private partners. So I do agree with you. Yes, innovations, they are the need of the hour.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, this has been an incredible journey through, and I hope each of you watching have got some takeaways that we can practically apply to your lives as well from the various thought leaders and experts that we've had on this panel. As I bring it back home, I want to hand over to Sunil, because I think if there's one word that came out of this conversation for me, it was this word innovation, and how we can use that spirit of optimism around technology and innovation to try and combat these challenges that await us. So Sunil, I believe you've got some interesting things to tell us about. I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. And I think great listening to all the panelists here. I think very valuable discussion. And as you said, I think one theme which comes across is, I think, to fight this, tremendous battle that we have of winning against mosquito-borne diseases, is the name of the game is innovation. And the innovation obviously does not mean only product. It means process innovation, product innovation, innovation in terms of medical infrastructure, innovation in private and public partnerships, I think, and even innovation in how to make people more aware of the steps they need to take. So I think that's the name of the game across. But right now, since you've handed over to me, I think I will zero down on one specific domain of the innovation where we have been doing some very strong exemplary work. And that is, as I said, that we do a lot of product innovation and bring a lot of exceptional products to this country to help our citizens fight this battle against mosquito-borne diseases. So I think today is the time to roll out a very new innovation across the country, which is, we believe, going to go a long way in terms of supporting India win against its battle in mosquito-borne diseases. So the product which I'm going to roll out today right now, it's works very fast, it is big, and it's getting rolled out right away as we talk. Can we move to the next slide, please? So as we all know, Godrej Goodnight is the brand which is a market leader brand with almost 60% share in household insecticide category. The whole heart of GCPL and Goodnight as a brand is innovation. We have brought all kinds of formats that you can see in this country to India from the house of Godrej. Another thing that we are very proud of is the trust that consumers have in the name Godrej across the country. And within that, the way the Goodnight brand is today trusted by millions of Indians' homes across each and every nook and corner of the country. And that's something which gives us pride, but also it clearly shows us that we have a huge responsibility towards each and every consumer in this country in terms of giving them products which are highly efficacious, highly safe, and at the same time, something which they can use in their respective environment and conditions. As I said, we also understand this needs from all the dimensions of consumer, and this makes us go more and more strongly towards innovation. Let's move. Now, over a period of time, these are kind of innovative solutions that we've come up. Many of you would be aware of this. We are the pioneers in liquid vaporizer category or the electric category across the globe. We had the India's first dual mode machine in Goodnight Advanced, which came up around 11 years back. Then 2 years back, around 18 months back rather, we have launched one of the world's most powerful liquid vaporizer product, which is called Goodnight Gold Flash. Now this is seeded across almost 6 crore homes in India already. And this is something which is got one of the best innovative automatic smart technologies built into it. At the other end of the spectrum, you can see products which are the burning formats, which are in the form of multiple innovations, whether it be the Maha Jumbo coil or the low smoke coil, which happened in this country over the last 10-15 years. Then the Goodnight 100% natural neem agarbatti. And then at the bottom of this picture, you see one of the most innovative products that we ever created, which was, I mentioned some time back as well, which is called Goodnight Fast Card, which is simple card paper of 1 rupee a piece, which could be burned to get instant efficacy at the lowermost pyramid and straight off the society. And last but not least, another innovation which has happened by us, which is to start teaching the people of this country in habit of taking protection when they are out of home. We as Indians are pretty much used to taking precautions and prevention measures against mosquitoes when we are in home, but out of home is something which we are not very used to, and that's a habit that we need to inculcate. These are some of the past innovations that I've already talked, so we can skip this. Now, some of the events that have changed HI category dynamics in the last few years. And these are something which, this first part which I'm talking here is something which, Jayant also talked of and referred pretty much at length to, is that in the last 4 years or so, this country has seen a rise of a phenomena, which is definitely very detrimental to the whole mission of eradicating vector-borne diseases out of this country, is the rise of illegal and harmful incense sticks. And while India has a very strong regulatory environment and has got a lot of checks and balances in place by all government machinery, unfortunately, there people do find ways and means to circumvent even the strongest of the systems. And we have seen in the last 4 years or so, and this is the data for Cantor Household Panel, that illegal and unlicensed incense sticks, which are containing harmful pesticides, have started penetrating a lot into homes. And Jayant also mentioned that in fact, we can see them around in bigger metros as well as in channels like chemists. And that's something which I think is an area we as an industry, we as an ecosystem need to work very actively to dissuade. The second event that changed the dynamics of this category is very unfortunate pandemic that we as a generation have seen, and it's a once in a century kind of an event which has changed our lives for the future. I mean, COVID has, while it had nothing to do with vector-borne diseases, and it was all about the coronavirus, it has really hit us in our psyche pretty hard. And the biggest thing which it has done is that it has made people much more conscious of their health, much more conscious of their immunity. And when we go to consumers, we hear some of these verbatims that, okay, I am very scared of going to hospitals because I don't know whether it's safe. I need to take care of more of my immunity, etc. So I think these are some of the events which have impacted us. When we go to consumers, before we make any innovation, some of the current consumer needs that we talk of. I mean, one thing which consistently comes out, especially when it comes to in-home protection, is that evenings are the time when the family comes together and bonds, whether it's after a hard day's work or whether it's the head of the family coming back or the kids coming back from playing out, or the wife, the mother getting time to take some break. Evening time is one of the most important times to bond among family. And this unfortunately coincides also with the timing of peak mosquito infestation. And hence, one of the pieces which comes out is that the mosquito menace in the evenings ends up spoiling these moments. And I need a product which can help me in taking on this mosquito infestation in the evening and not spoil or preserve my happy moments with my family. So keeping these fundamental couple of changes in mind, one very detrimental to our society, which is the illegal incense sticks, one, a heightened degree of self-awareness and health consciousness created in our society, in our psyche by COVID, and a consistent need to preserve the time of the family. Keeping all these in mind, I would like to present to you a very exciting and path-breaking innovation, one in another series of innovations. And this one is called Goodnight Jumbo Fast Card. And while this may seem as a name carrying some part of the name of our previous innovation Fast Card, but I can tell you this is not just a jumbo version, it's a fundamentally different product from our Goodnight Fast Card. And it is something which I would like to explain to you right now. We see this as a very, very pivotal innovation for our journey of Goodnight brand, as well as we believe our contribution to help India fight the battle of mosquito-borne diseases. So as you can see here, there are many icons written here. It's a product which has an instant fast action. It has got a fantastic fragrance, very pleasant. It's a low smoke product. It actually burns not quickly and doesn't extinguish immediately. It burns up to 4 hours consistently through a spiral that you can see here. And it has got a very powerful active. And after burning is over post 1 hour, the whole effect of active and its residual repellency against mosquitoes stays up to 4 hours. And all this comes at a great price of 15 rupees for 10 such cards, which come inside this packet. In fact, what I would do is I would also like to show you, if you can see this camera, this product in its actually real avatar. You can see the image there. And if you see, this is the way this pack looks like. I would also like to show you a product in real, how this is used. This is the way the card actually appears. These 10 such cards appear in this pack. And obviously then one has to kind of spiral them up. It becomes almost a paper spiral of its own kind. And then, unlike our earlier fast card, this product comes with a double step stand, and one has to actually unfold this stand and one step and then a second step. And then this product, as you can see, gets fitted onto this stand, which is provided in this pack of 10. And then you burn it from one end, and then it keeps on burning, and then you extinguish it. And then the slow burn continues across this spiral for almost 1 hour. And then the effect of the actives released remains for 4 hours. So this is the new innovation, which we're calling as Goodnight Jumbo Fast Card, with a very, very affordable price point of 1.50 rupee for one card. And we believe this will go a long way in increasing the penetration of branded mosquito solutions across the length and breadth of this country. And it will also help us fight the menace of the illegal incense sticks as well. And most important, I think, through sheer penetration and usage, and given its affordability, this will help us help the country take on the burden of mosquito-borne diseases and reduce that. Now, what I would like to show you is, since I've shown you the product, is a message from our chairperson, Nisa Godrej. And I think it's a very important message as we see at Godrej our battle against mosquito-borne diseases.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you are all doing well and keeping safe. The deadliest creature the world has ever seen is also one of the smallest, the mosquito. Though we have made great strides with breakthroughs in anti-malarial drugs, a child dies of malaria every 30 seconds. And each year, more than 200 million cases are reported around the world, resulting in over 400,000 deaths. Dengue and other diseases are also a very big issue. And with climate change and the heat and changes in weather patterns, we can expect more infestation. At Godrej Consumer Products, bringing the goodness of health to people in emerging markets is core to our purpose. Household insecticides is our biggest product category, and we are deeply committed to working towards a malaria-free India by 2030 by creating large-scale social impact through our Goodnight brand. As our knowledge around the mosquito increases at pace, so does our innovation. We know that the mosquito is indiscriminate in who it targets, so our innovations focus on accessibly priced products that can be distributed as far and wide as possible. Our latest innovation, Goodnight Jumbo Fast Card, for example, is priced at only ₹1.50 per card. It also brings together the two most desired benefits for consumer. One, it works instantly. Two, its effect lasts for 4 long hours, which is the entire evening. It's also very simple to use. Let me show you how it's done. So you take one card like this, you open every joint, pull it open. Now fix the card on the stand. So, this is how you fix the card here. And then you light it here and you blow it, and then it just keeps burning. We will be sharing this product with you and would love to hear your feedback. And while we are very proud of this innovation, we recognize that it will take continued global efforts to fight the mosquito. It's not going to be easy, but as we have seen with COVID-19 vaccine development, the solutions to some of our biggest problems are possible when we bring science and empathy together. Stay safe and take care.
Well, thank you so much, Sunil, and thanks to Nisa for this wonderful video. I think what's more important is to try and use the product. So all of you on this call, most of you must have received the product. If not, it will be reaching very soon for you to use it yourself. I think it was a brilliant unveiling. I think one word which came through was innovation, and Sunil, I think a great job done by the team from R&D and from GCPL to bring this innovation to the fore. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are any questions, we'll be taking them now. I can see a steady stream of questions coming up on my WhatsApp as well as the chat box. And, please ensure that you ask the question, keep it brief. Let us know your name and the name of the publication. There are already 3 or 4 questions which have come. There's one for Sunil, one for Dr. Srivastava. So I'll just start the question and answer session. Since Sunil is right there, maybe the first question goes to Sunil. Sunil, there's a question which says, can this be the biggest innovation so far by Goodnight? And I'll just complete the question. It also says you initially launched this innovation in Maharashtra, tested it there. How has been the response to the product?
Yeah, okay. So I think, whether this is the biggest innovation from GCPL, I think it's a very absolute statement. I think we are very proud of a series of innovations that we have done over the last 2 decades in this country in the field of household insecticide. So I think this, to my mind, is an innovation which, instead of saying it's the greatest, I think it has the potential to make one very fundamental change, is increase penetration of branded household products in this country, and then as a result enable us to better fight the menace of mosquito-borne diseases across especially the rural parts of this country. And I think that's where I think the potential of this innovation truly lies. If you see this innovation, as Nisa also mentioned, as I also explained to you in terms of product usage, it is a burning format. It does not require electricity, and hence it can go to any part of the country. It is very simple and easy to carry. Hence it's got mobility and accessibility. Third, it just comes at a price of ₹1.50, so it's very affordable for the masses in this country. And the fourth part, it is a very, very instant, efficacious solution, which also lasts for 4 hours. So I think this is a very complete, I would say all-in-one kind of a solution, which I expect to really help us revolutionize the growth of the fight against mosquito diseases. And hence, we have very, very huge hopes. And obviously, I would like this innovation to beat all the records that FastCard had built. Till date, GoodNet FastCard was one of our biggest breakthroughs. And I expect the Jumbo FastCard to go ahead and beat the record of GoodNet FastCard.
Excellent. There's a question coming up for Dr. Rajnikant Srivastava. It says, does any research show that the mosquitoes are developing immunity to existing prevention tools? And a follow-up question which comes up is, as per you, do you think that the third wave of COVID is going to hit India? And would it impact the occurrence of malaria and dengue?
No, definitely, actually, you should not be worried about the third wave or the fourth wave. If we will keep on following the COVID appropriate behavior, we can prevent any future waves. That is number one. Number two is that those who are eligible, they should go for the vaccination. Vaccine will always prevent you from the COVID severity. So that is a 2 point. Regarding the malaria is concerned in relation to COVID-19, that is very true. If there will be lockdown, the other health program, including the vector-borne disease program, they will also be affected. It is in our hand that how we can keep ourselves safe from the COVID. It means that we have to follow the COVID appropriate behavior, and we need to get vaccinated as early as possible, those if they are not vaccinated.
Excellent, excellent. There's a question for Dr. Laser's son. It says, how is the Gates Foundation supporting government's efforts in India in achieving its target of a malaria-free nation by 2030? Dr. Laser's son? Oh, I think she's dropped off the call. I will move to the next question, which has come from Vidyant. He says, would it adversely affect the asthma patients? Sunil, it's about...
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'll take that. So thank you, Vidyant, for asking this question. Actually, it's very important for us to answer this as well, and for the overall knowledge of all the people around. As I said, that the great part is that India has a very strong regulatory mechanism, and although there have been these illegal instances which have violated that over the last 3-4 years, but otherwise, for branded players like us who follow every law of the land to the T, I think there's a very strong regulatory mechanism where each and every active that is converted into a product and used inside a product, the product goes through multiple tests at our R&Ds for over 2 years at multiple laboratories outside our R&D as well, where the efficacy is tested as well as the safety of the product is tested to the hilt. And after that, it is submitted to the Government of India. As Jayant was mentioning, there's a board under Ministry of Agriculture, which is called the Insecticide Board of Control for Insecticides in India, which is CIB, which then its own national laboratories, which again go through all the protocols and tests of the product for its efficacy and its effect on humans and health of humans, including asthma, as you talk of. And then based on that test and everything, the product is given clearance to be rolled into the market. And each and every such product which has a certain composition of efficacy is then given a sign as well in terms of how safe it is. And if you see, this product carries from the CIB a green sign here, which is a template which classifies this product's safety as well. So yes, this product has been, and at Godrej, we would never launch a product which compromises on the safety ever, And apart from that, the Government of India has done its very strong, rigorous tests before they clear this product. So this product is 100% safe. And I would also like to point out is that this product is also a low smoke product, so it emits very, very little smoke inside the room. And hence, you can be rest assured in terms of its health protocols.
Here's a question. It's a kind of a follow-up question, Sunil. So I'll ask you this question. This comes from Mr. Sheikh from Daitwa, Pune. He says, will it create problems for people who are struggling with asthma, which you answered already?
I've answered this question, yeah.
He's asked, the second question is, will it be suitable for bigger room sizes?
Yeah, so see, when we test these products, we actually have very standard sizes, which is almost by 10 by 12 feet kind of sizes. And, we've created in our R&D labs, these large testing rooms, which are there, which are almost like, which are exact replica of the bedrooms or the large rooms which are created in Indian homes. And this product, actually all products get tested in real situations of Indian home. And this product works very effectively across a large room size as well. Another advantage of this product is what we've seen, that the way consumers use it or will use it as well, is that since this product on this stand, which I showed you, is portable, that can be moved around from one corner to another. The normally, and this product burns for an hour, up to an hour. So the way the consumers use this product, and this is something which has come to us even from our consumer work that we've done in Maharashtra, where we launched it earlier 2 months back, is that people tend to move this product across the corners of the room into some of the hidden areas behind tables, etc., and then they put it station. So then the the efficacy by moving this product moves across the rooms, and then they put it in one corner of the room, and then obviously with the help of ambient air, the actives move around the various nooks and corners. So I think the biggest piece is this product moves across even the hidden parts of a room, which normally have got curtains or almirahs, etc., in the room. So it works across the room size.
Sunil, quickly, one question for you, and then I'll move to a question which has come up for Dr. P.K. Sen. This is a question coming in from Devdatta Pati. He says, is this product, you say, affordable for mass? His question is it affordable for the rural people?
Yeah. So in fact, that is one thing which I want to tell you, that when we had launched across customer categories, first of all, we have seen that the low unit prices work the best in rural areas. Whether it is, and whenever every category has got revolutionized in terms of penetration across rural India, it has been on the back of a low unit pack. Whether it is a 5 rupees soap or a 10 rupees soap, whether it has been a 1 rupee Goodnight Fast Card, whether it has been a sachet in a shampoo of 75 paisa or a 1 rupee, I think the LUPs are what make it affordable for a rural consumer. And we are pretty confident that given the longevity of 4 hours which is given in this product, a 1 rupee 50 paisa is a very, very affordable price point in rural India.
Sunil, there's a health related question coming in from our friend Parminder Singh Sidhu from Punjab News Online. He says sometimes, it's his own experience that sometimes a Goodnight refill has given him some sore throat indications. Would this low smoke coil be avoided? Would the problem of smoke alleviate his pain? I mean, would it impact?
I think, Parminder, thank you for sharing your experience. So first of all, I think I would like to say that as I said, that we follow each and every rigorous protocol at our development stage very, very closely, and then post our laboratory, the products that got tested at all government laboratories before any such thing is cleared for launch. So none of these products have any health hazard of any kind. However, at the same time, if you had one or such experience with a Goodnight product, I would love to maybe also pick up that sample from you to understand if there has been very specific experience which could have caused it. But at the same time, sometimes these experiences are also caused because of maybe some of the other symptoms which you could have had, but very difficult to comment. But I can assure you that not only Goodnight Fast Card, Goodnight Jumbo Fast Card, Goodnight Coils, Goodnight Gold Flash, each and every product is 110% safe and has no health hazard whatsoever.
Sunil, there's a follow-up. I think there's a series of questions coming in for Sunil related to product. I'll just take this last again because it seems pertinent. It's come from Varun from Times Now, Navbharat. Is there any special plan that during time of malaria dengue season, we can tackle in an appropriate manner? Tons of cases came this year, especially in September. So I think, what are the things that one should personally do to avoid dengue?
I think the biggest thing, while we can give and we develop products to help you, fight, the onset of a vector-borne diseases, or let's say fight when mosquitoes have already, outbroken into the environment. I think one of the biggest things one can do is to take proactive steps to prevent mosquito breeding itself. And I think those are some of the important behaviors that we all need to inculcate. And this is irrespective of the social strata of society, irrespective of high income, low income groups, because as we've seen many cases happen where water stored in coolers in homes in parts of northern India can lead to mosquito breeding. Water left in trays of flower pots in high-rise buildings can lead to mosquito infestation. And obviously in congested areas, open drainage pipes, open drains can obviously lead to, they are all fertile grounds for mosquito breeding. So I think we need to take some very fundamental steps to make sure that not only we ensure that there is very little room for mosquito breeding inside the homes, we need to also stretch ourselves beyond our homes into at least areas surrounding our homes to make sure that whether we influence the civic society there, or if we can ourselves take steps to ensure that first and foremost steps is that we don't allow water to collect, which is the biggest source of mosquito breeding. And obviously then obviously we help in cleaning of garbage, avoid sewage areas to be lying open, so that all sources of mosquito breeding are contained. And obviously after that, we also need to take care that within our homes we have all measures, like whether it's mosquito bed nets, whether it's our own branded solutions, or whether it's covering ourselves by stepping out. Those steps are also taken care of.
Okay, quickly, I'll need to move to Dr. PK Sen. There's a question which has come up. It says the government has set up a target of making India malaria free by 2030. Are we on track considering the unforeseen circumstances of COVID which are currently around?
Yeah, it is not 2020, it is 2030.
2030, my bad, 2030.
Yeah, and there is some pressure, some difficulties due to the ongoing pandemic. But but I think during this pandemic, what we have seen, the number of cases of malaria, I do not know whether this is due to COVID or due to COVID during the epidemic pandemic period, due to some lack in limitations of surveillance. Number of malaria cases have come down. And as you all know that we have a national strategic plan, which is 2017-2022, and this is district based planning has been done. And in spite of some setback, we are right on the track. And this is reflected because number of malaria cases have drastically come down. This is before COVID has come, number of malaria cases have come down, and now also we are in the right track.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Doctor. This is a question which Dr. Sen or Dr. Rajnikant can take up. This is a question coming from Goa, Times of India. It says, what is the reason for rise in dengue cases in western states like Goa over the past few weeks?
So it is not only the western states, the dengue cases are rising in many of the parts of the India. For example, in UP also, there was a mysterious fever and it was found it is happening because of the dengue only. And we all know this year we have seen excessive rains, and rains are still continuing. And because of the rain and intermittent rain, they are not heavy rain, they are intermittent rain, and they are causing the innumerable number of mosquito breeding sites. For example, flower pots, coolers, tires, everywhere, broken earthen pots, everywhere. So wherever there is a small water place for water to stagnate, the Aedes mosquito starts breeding. That is the reason. So the rise for the dengue is mainly because of the urbanization and the population movement from the rural area to the urban area, somewhat maybe the climate change. So there are multiple reasons for the dengue to rise. And the prevention is that you need to be aware, you should be aware that where you should avoid the stagnation of mosquito breeding sites, number one. You can take some preventive measures for following the full sleeve shirts and wearing the full trousers so that there is no space for the mosquito to bite. So certain prevention and precaution you can take. You can use repellent in case required, because the dengue mosquito is a day biter. The day biter means that a malaria mosquito takes a bite only once, and if it is fully fed, it will not bite to another person. But if a dengue mosquito bites one person and you will kick off the mosquito, it will bite the second person, the third person. So one mosquito infect at least 5 to 10%. The number of cases increase suddenly in case of the dengue, because it's a day biter and people are awake, so they keep the mosquito away. So it will, unless and until it is not fully fed, it will keep on biting, and that is spread very fast.
Thank you so much. There is, Sunil, a question coming in from down south Kerala. It says, what is the approximate total size of this market as well as the unregistered market? So he's asking about the illegal incense sticks, its proliferation in terms of its reach in the rural markets as well as the urban markets. So what is the threat that you see?
So total market size of household insecticide in India is roughly around 6,000 odd crores. So that's the size of the market. It is roughly penetrated in our country to the tune of around 57%, out of which urban India is penetrated around 70% plus, and rural is around 50 odd percent, 49 odd percent. So that's the kind of penetration. But at the same time, let me tell you, this definition of penetration are very lenient ones. Even if somebody's used a product once in 12 months, it's called as a penetration market. So there's a huge play out there still for our country to adapt regular, continuous, mosquito prevention branded products. So that's number one. The illegal mosquito incense stick market, which started, taking shape in this country around 4 years back, has, as we showed in my presentation, has increased very heavily in penetration over the last 4 years across around 7 or 8 states in the country, Kerala being one of them, right, which also has seen that. And it has become roughly around 28-29% penetration in the country. The size of this market would vary anywhere between, I would say, 750 to 850 to 900 crores.
Okay, Sunil, another question which says, what is the pros and cons of using Goodnight machine, which is probably is hinting at the liquid vaporizer and the fast card. This is again from Sheikh Saab from Pune. So
okay, so I think again, it's again very different for different consumers. There are consumers who would like to have a solution where they can just put on the machine in the night, a solution in the night, and go to sleep, and then do not bother about stopping in the middle of the night to take charge of the machine, or switching it off. For that, I think Goodnight Gold Flash is a very, very powerful, very, very easy solution, because it releases a flash burst right at the beginning of the moment you put it on, and then it has an automatic mode whereby every 4 hours it switches mode from flash to normal, and every 4 hours it again moves into flash mode. So it's a machine where you can just put it on and then forget about it, and it actually works in a very intelligent manner, and it's automatic mechanism. So that's for the people who want a continuous solution. At the same time, the people who want, there's some people who can't afford a Goodnight Gold Flash machine because the put down price of a liquid vaporizer is 75 rupees. Then there are people who say, okay, we do not want to put down 75 rupees, consumers, on the table. For them comes Jumbo Fast Card, which is just a 1 rupee 50 paisa per card solution, where you can burn it, put it in the evening, maybe around 6 o'clock, let it burn for an hour, and the effect remains till 10 o'clock, whereby after that you can go to sleep easily, as the mosquitoes obviously would have got knocked down, and the house would be free of mosquitoes. So I think different consumers, different needs. I have also come across homes which do both, which actually first use Jumbo Fast Cards in the evening, and then before sleeping, if they find that they want to be extra cautious, they still put up a machine in the night. So I think each consumer has their own preferences.
Another question is coming from Nikhil from Goan Varta. It's to all the panelists. He's saying, is the product already available in the market? I'm talking about Goa market, and how is it priced?
Yeah, so
Sujit, I am taking leave now.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the product price I've told you, it's a 15 rupee product, a 15 rupee fast card for 10, one pack of 15 rupees for 10 cards inside it. And hence one card comes to 1 rupee 50 paisa. The price is same across the country. The product got rolled out across Maharashtra and Goa roughly around 45 days back. It's been available there. And in the last 15 days, in fact, it's in the middle of being rolled out last 10 days across whole of India. So if you have not seen available, my hunch is that in Maharashtra and Goa, it will already be available. It should be available. And in the rest of the country, it should reach across, we're targeting roughly around 650,000 outlets to be reached over a period of next maybe 3 odd months.
Excellent. There's another question coming up. How long did the team take to come through this solution? Why was it not bought in before?
Oh, each and every product had its own innovation timeline. There are times at which stage you find the need for a product and you put in a brief, and then the R&D starts working on. As you remember that we have in the last 8 years back, we had launched Goodnight Fast Card, which was a revolutionary product of its own kind, and which changed the whole rural penetration of household insecticides in this country. So that something happened. After that, Goodnight in the burning format itself, Goodnight incense sticks happened. And then we have felt the need for a product which is not only as instant efficacious as a fast card, but consumers told us can it also gives much more higher residual longevity compared to a fast card. Fast card effect would last roughly around 2 hours. We have come with a product which now actually has a stand which has got a spiral. So it does not burn for a few minutes, it actually burns for an hour, and then it gives you residual effect for 4 hours. So this is where the consumer feedback came to us, consumer insights came to us, and that's how we developed this product. This whole product to develop for us has taken roughly anywhere between, I would say, 15 to 18 months.
There's a question for Dr. P.K. Sen. It's a very pointed question. How confident are you that India will be malaria-free by 2030?
No, we are optimistic that this can be achievable by 2030, and I must say that we are optimistic that we'll reach the goal.
Excellent. That's very assuring, Dr. Sen. Thank you so much for all your efforts and the team's effort. Last couple of questions, Sunil. This is a follow-up question by Neeta Desai. It says, will it be available in rural areas also? I'm sure you've answered that.
Yeah,
question.
definitely. I mean, we have a wide reach as a company. We have a wide reach in rural areas directly. Plus, so just to give an example, we cover around 13,000 sub-stockist point in rural areas. We reach roughly around 65,000 villages directly. And apart from that, with a very large wholesale channel in this country, which makes us reach Godrej products actually across 6 million outlets. In fact, just to give an example, our Good Night, the coil itself as a burning format, reaches across 2 million outlets in this country. So we are going to be distributing it across our entire direct distribution of 65,000 villages ourselves. And then we will also be creating a very large mass awareness of this through advertising and print campaign. And we expect the wholesale channel also to throughput this and help us reach across, millions of outlets.
One last question, final, before we close. This is for Dr. P.K. Sen. I think, Dr. Sen, you've become a favorite of a lot of people. It says, in what ways will the Ministry of Health work with brands which bring such innovations and make India malaria-free?
Yeah, actually, I was listening to Mr. Sunil. He was referring to that we should mosquito breeding should be checked. This is important, and he was referring to lots of innovations which can be used in domestic, household areas. So this is one very important aspect where these innovations can be applied to. But there are lots of areas, as I mentioned, where innovations can take place right from diagnoses or diagnostic kits. As we are referring to regarding dengue, that more than 700 sentinel sites are there in the country, where diagnosis can be done free based on ELISA-based technique. Some years back, we were trying to find out or validate some of the kits which are available in the market by ICMR has trying to validate, so that we can take this, because ELISA-based kit can be done at a very at the district, at the most at a sub-district subdivisional level. So how we can reach out to the people with simple diagnostic tests, which is highly specific, highly sensitive, and this we could not find it. So if we can innovate such a diagnostic kit so that we can diagnose dengue at a very early stage at the grassroots level, at the village level. This has been done in case of malaria, as Dr. Rajnikant was referring to, with RDT kits, which can be used even in the remotest corner, which can be used even by ASHA worker, not a very well-equipped laboratory technician is not needed, or laboratory is not needed. So this is one important aspect for how we can reach out to the people with some simple innovations. So similarly, we have tried, there are scope, as we are referring to some of the demonstration models. this is also one area where demonstration, when innovation can be applied to in demonstration projects also. So there is many areas like one important area, you see, although we see that vaccine development was the important aspect. One important area for vaccine development, particularly for dengue, there are some promising candidate vaccines available in those areas. And also what is important in case of innovations in terms of drug development, particularly in case of resistance malaria in our country. So there are lots of scope, lots of models, lots of opportunities where innovations can apply to, so that we can achieve our goal for control, for elimination of vector-borne disease. And these innovations will ultimately lead to self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, I must say.
Well said, Dr. Sen. Two quick pointers, Sunil. One question is coming from the editor of Tozil Nestle Industrial Business Magazine, Chennai. He's asking when this product would be available in Chennai. A quick, you're on mute, Sunil.
Sorry. So as we talk, as I mentioned already, the product is actually started rolling out across all states of the country over the last fortnight. And I think it should be already available in many parts of the Chennai city, and in fact, for that matter, Tamil Nadu.
Excellent. And the final question, Sunil, I know we are short of time, is again from Shafiq Sheikh from Pune. Is asking, is it harmful for lizards and rats and other flies also?
No, this product does not work on lizards and rats or anything. It just
So
works
Sheikh
on.
Saab, you'll have to buy some other format for that. But in the meanwhile, please do enjoy the Good Night Jumbo Fast card. And I think this is the only time that we have for all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you, Dr. Lezasan, Dr. Rajnikant, Dr. P.K. Sen, Advocate Jayant Deshpande, Sunil Kataria, and Dr. Marcus for this insightful discussion. Let's hope all of us can work together and make India free from mosquito-borne diseases. I think that's the call that we have to take, and let's work together on that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, our friends from the media who are on the call. Thank you so much for taking time out for this very important discussion. Really appreciate that, and really fuel this conversation to make real impact on the ground. So we end this panel discussion and look forward to interacting with you very soon. Thank you so much for being here.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.